YouTube, what's up? How can you go beyond what there's no limit to? You are infinitude. You create those limits and those boundaries with every cycle that you go through. And that is the cycle path. That is what the beast creates. The beast will always seek to create lack. And giving into the lust will never, it only fuels the fire. So if you go through a cycle of energy because you're converting your attention energy into money and exchanging that money for these holograms or cultivars, these foods, or chimera beasts, then when people that eat pigs, chickens, and cows and whatever, those are just chimera beasts. So that's just, you're going through your cycle of exchanging energy or metabolizing energy. Transmuting energy is basically just alchemy all over again in different ways coming back at you. And everything you reach for is just something that you could have done from within yourself that you're using a thing for. And it's always an act of will or an act of allowance. You allow the day to teach you how to love it. So instead of making any day planning to eat or planning to be in a cycle, just allow the day to teach you how to, manage the energy. Because it's always going to be an exchange of energy. If you ate up a bunch of your food in the first 2 days and then you had a week, you might panic. And then you're going to start leeching from yourself and stealing from yourself ahead in the cycles ahead. So instead of that, if you just knew your own power and you knew your own creative power and you were tapping into the creativeness in you, then you would have less craving anyway. But as far as that goes, you would know that it's always just an exchange of energy. You're never losing or winning. It's always an exchange. So you just go through different levels of realizing that. That's pretty much what I guess evolution is, what you could say. Because if there wasn't enough, you would be dead. And if you, it's just that simple. If there wasn't enough, that you would be dead. And in that case, you would be alleviated of your problems anyway, right? Supposedly. So it's always an exchange of energy, and energy snowballing, collecting residue, or, you, again, leeching from yourself. That'd be the only way to go into debt, is going into debt to yourself. Because the beast is going to seek to create lack. So the beast will buy things that you can't afford and things that you don't need. That's what the beast will always do. So that there's always a hurried or cramped situation to where you feel an anxiety, which perpetuates the situation of eating and staying in a cycle, doing everything in a cycle because you're bound by these things that you didn't need or really weren't part of your experience. You're holding on to something else's experience, a reflection of your beast. So you're giving into a deeper illusion, so it just costs more. And you got to realize that when you're sleeping, you're basically just performing unconscious alchemy. So you're going to waste your sleeping on converting dead animal carcass and starch or any of these things, whatever, into life to be eliminated when you wake up, to give you another chance to maybe take the step back towards homeostasis and fast and get back to zero, to where, that's the creative point. And everybody gets so afraid of the bottom of the ocean. But once you touch the bottom of the ocean and you're there, you're like, hey, it's the bottom of the ocean. At the same time, it's the top of the world still. It's not. It's just the paradox of the yin and yang. And once you, transcend the duality and get not up above it or whatever, but you can, overstand, understand, whatever, understand, however you want to realize, then you realize that it's always just a cycle from one to the next of you going through you and you metabolizing life. And you pretty much just pick how you want to do it. Like, you can do it really dense and just eat dense things and eat really low off the tree of life, if you're even on that. And then you have your other options. Of course, people will refute them because they don't allow themselves to experience those levels of being, because it's really, so much is an illusion. It's amazing. It's soon, like whenever you think of something, say, all right, anybody that's mad about the DMT or ayahuasca references, whatever, like, if you are allowing yourself to have an experience, you've already alchemically created it in your mind for you to externally experience it. So you don't need to externally experience it if you fully inhabit your own body and experience it within you. Then you don't have to use the crutch of an external, maybe, or fly yourself to the Amazon and get the stuff and use the plant matter that really, again, the plant is you. It's all a reflect, all things are a reflection of all things. So it all of life is all of life. So you're talking to this plant that's a part of you, that externally. I mean, you can do it. I mean, hey, it's an exchange. You're just dealing with an exchange at that point. It's alchemic. It's unconscious alchemy, basically. That's what we could call it. We call like a meat eater is like a really unconscious alchemist, or like an egotistical alchemist, whatever. I don't know. Whatever you want to use, or words that make you feel comfortable. But as far as the limits, they're just false limits that the beast sets up to create a hurried environment to where you stay in the cycle and you never experience this state of needing less. Everyone finds a way to want more, but rarely a way to need less. Why don't people find ways to need less? We always find ways to want more. That's easy. I can want something. I can find a way to want some more stuff. But how do I find a way to need less stuff? So ROYALT512@yahoo.com. RBud Vegan on Amazon for the ebooks. Taylor Bud is the Facebook. Parasite Jesus Christ 19 on IG. Just as far as, just getting into the limits and the boundaries. You're within yourself and you're without yourself, whatever, however you want to look at it. You're constantly traveling through the universe as the universe travels through you, whatever. So it's really your choice of how you want to do it, how you want to navigate through the ether, because that's what you're always doing. You're just doing it either denser or less dense, and different densities allow for certain experiences, and the more dense you are, the more bound you are to certain things, and the less dense you are, the less you will reap the fruits of the beast. And then you got to realize that that's okay. It's a fruit of the beast. There's plenty of times where in your life you're like, man, it's just like if you got catered to in a way that is not fair. To get that food or whatever was given to you in a way that it wasn't fair, that there's other people that could deserve it. It doesn't even digest the same. Look, my stomach can't digest it even if I bless it. So, it's always the energy and the residue and an exchange of energy and all the energy going behind it. And again, it's always happening in the netters first before it gets to the denseness. So it's happening. If you're masturbating and then you release the seed and spill the cup like that, even if you do that, you think that the arousal came from what? Would you think the arousal came from that initial moment on that initial day, from some one thing? No, it's an alignment of things that get you to that state and keep you in that state. And since it's happening at all levels in a quantum view, you can see how the rape that goes on all levels and all systems of the body, you can see how we're being siphoned for, basically just eating our own tail, though. I hate to act like, it's something else that is, there's really, newsflash, man. You're alone and everything is a reflection of you. So the only things that can take from you or supposedly give this illusion of taking from you are the parts of yourself that you ignore. And that's really about it. The parts of you that you ignore are always going to rob you and rape you. It's just that simple.